Welcome back once again to Recovery Coast to Coast, the only program in America on the air 5 nights a week, 2 hours a night, talking about addiction with a focus on recovery. It's great to be down here at the big Texas Rally for Recovery. We have been here all day. It's been amazing. Probably 3,000 plus crossing the bridge. And what a metaphor, crossing the bridge from addiction into recovery. Everybody crossed the bridge today, and they've been celebrating all afternoon. A number of great speakers. And by the way, our broadcast is being brought to you by the good folks at Summer Sky Treatment Center just outside of Fort Worth, Texas, where recovery begins. Check them out at summersky.us. Joining us in this segment, an old friend. I actually met him about a year ago in University of North Texas. Brian Cuban joining us. He's an amazing recovery advocate. Since we last talked, you have been doing a number of things, and you're here today sharing your experience, strength, and hope with the group. Tell us about the last year for Brian.
The last year has been pretty amazing in that I've begun advocating for recovery, not only in the eating disorder field, which I started, but now in the substance use disorder area, and most recently, especially in the legal profession, since I am a lawyer. And lawyers suffer from problematic alcohol use at a rate 3 times the general public. So we have quite a problem there. So I've found that I can really have some impact in that area.
What are you doing in the legal community, Brian?
I am speaking to lawyers. I am reaching out to lawyers, and I am trying to get lawyers to step up and let other people know that you can recover in the legal profession like in any other profession or anywhere else. Because it's very stigmatized.
Oh, it really is.
It's very stigmatized.
Are there certain, or should there be certain treatment centers specifically for lawyers?
Well, there are. There's Hazleton Betty Ford has their legal professional programs. But we need more of them. We need more of them because, like in many professions, specific professions, it's shown that if you have the ability to talk to your own, that is very helpful. Lawyers want to talk to other lawyers. And we do have the ability informally, like Dallas has lawyers for lawyers concerned for lawyers. Each state has their own what's called legal assistance program where both law students and lawyers can get help. But lawyers tend to be more concerned about the consequences of disclosure to the profession and not the consequences of what they are going through. So how do you shift them from one to the other? It's a process.
How do you shift them?
By talking to them, by letting them see that if they don't deal with the core issue, the other consequences are inevitable. But they don't have to be inevitable if you deal with the core issues.
Brian Cuban joining us tonight on Recovery Coast to Coast. We are down here in Dallas for the big rally. What do you think of this rally with all these people crossing the bridge? We've all crossed the bridge into recovery.
It is amazing. All of these people, I've seen people that I haven't seen in a while. I've made new friends in recovery. I've seen so many people just coming to advocate for themselves, for their family, parents advocating for loved ones they've lost. It is truly a cathartic experience here being part of all this. It is empowering my own recovery.
You've been in recovery a long time.
Yes, it'll be 10 years in April. But not as long as some.
No, well, but, you know, the person who got up the earliest this morning has the most recovery.
There you go.
There you go. But almost 10 years of recovery, and not only your own recovery, but helping others along the path to find recovery as well. You've got it, you give it away.
You have to. You have to give it away because there are just so many people suffering who want it but don't know how to get it. And for those of us in advocacy and those of us like you were in it all the time, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that people aren't aware of this.
Exactly.
And people feel helpless and people feel alone. We tend to not feel alone because we're surrounded by it all the time. But you have to reach out. And so people can see.
And I did a little talk yesterday at the Betty Ford Hazleton pre-event over at SMU. And one of the things I said was, you may be the only recovery people outside the room see.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, when I started, we can go back to the legal profession. When I just started talking about recovery in the legal profession, and I wrote a couple of articles, email after email after email from lawyers.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Who were suffering in silence and did not know what to do. They didn't know. They didn't even know about what was available in their own state to help them.
Brian Cuban joining us on Recovery Coast to Coast. You shared a little bit of your story on stage about the end point when you were using cocaine, and there was a story about your brother, of course your brother is Mark Cuban, and the playoff tickets.
That's right, trading playoff tickets for
share that story.
Sure. with the Dallas Mavericks went to the NBA championship for the first time in 2006, and we played the Miami Heat. We ultimately lost. At that time, I was very deep into my cocaine addiction, my substance use disorder, also into my alcohol use. I had the opportunity, as you might guess, to get good seats for those games.
I would think so.
And I had the opportunity to get seats for other friends because of my relationship to Mark.
Right.
So I got a couple tickets, and I did not give them to my friends. I didn't trade them on eBay either for an astronomical amount of money because that would be disrespectful to Mark, the team, and the city. What I did was traded them to my cocaine dealer for $1,000 in cocaine.
Oh, my goodness.
In my mind, selling them on eBay was disrespectful, but trading them to my cocaine dealer was perfectly acceptable. The mind of a drug addict, right?
Right, exactly.
The mind of a drug addict.
Right. And then what happened?
So I took that, I took that cocaine and hid it in all the closets around my house. I drove to Home Depot and bought a drill and a saw and cut all these fake electrical outlets in all my closets because drug addiction goes with paranoia.
You think?
And like I said, like the police and the DEA and the drug dogs have never thought of that, right? But the paranoia, again, of addiction was so great that I went and gathered it all back up again and flushed it all down the toilet. And then the next day, I didn't have my cocaine, and I got all mad at myself, so I called my dealer again. He delivers the cocaine again, and I did the same thing.
Isn't that the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over. And I tell the joke, when Dallas flushes, it ends up in Houston. So some people in Houston got really high that night. Sorry if you live in Houston, that's just a joke.
Oh, my goodness.
So that is truly the insanity of addiction. And that was my life. And it all seemed perfectly normal to me.
You're on the path now to help other people in terms of the legal profession. What about the eating disorder area?
Yes, I am in recovery from bulimia. I suffered from bulimia for over 2 decades. It's another a stigmatized area for men, but it's an important area, eating disorders, because they are very often co-occurring with substance use disorder.
Right.
From the eating disorder to the substance use disorder side, it goes about 50% of people with eating disorders will also have a substance use disorder.
And the double stigma being a man.
And being a man with an eating disorder is very stigmatized. Even today, even though we know about 1/3 of those with eating disorders are in fact men.
Right.
So it is very important for me, just like it is with substance use disorder, as someone in recovery from an eating disorder, to speak out and let men know that recovery is possible and you are not alone. Because I thought I was the only one.
Brian Cuban joining us on Recovery Coast to Coast. You can hear the band in the background, a great big celebration, a great day of celebration for the city of Dallas, for the recovery movement.
Absolutely, and we've had so many good people here.
I mean, one after the other.
Michael Botticelli, we've had all kinds of great advocates who were doing wonderful things in both just the straight advocacy and in the legislative advocacy.
What's the future hold for you, Brian, in terms of advocacy, in terms of working with others in Dallas, in Texas, in the country?
My vision is always the same. I want to help people recover. I will work with anyone who wants to help people recover. So I will continue to advocate. I will continue to look for areas where I can have the most impact. I will continue to just do whatever people want me to do if they think I can have impact. That's what it's all about.
You doing any writing?
I am writing my next book. It is called The Addicted Lawyer, Tales of the Bars, Booze, Blow, and Redemption. And that will be about substance use in the legal profession. Kind of a memoir, but also a book where people can learn about recovery in that area.
With some resources.
With some resources, that's right.
What's the timetable?
It is now being shopped to publishers, and so hopefully 2017 will be ready to go.
Outstanding. You're a true ambassador to this field.
Thank you very much, as are you.
I always say the bright side of addiction is recovery, and you embody that 100%.
As do you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Brian Cuban joining us on Recovery Coast to Coast. You can hear the band in the background. We're in Dallas at the Big Texas Rally for Recovery. Our broadcast made possible by Summit Sky Treatment Center. They are successfully treating alcoholics, addicts, and of course people in long-term recovery as well. They have a great relapse program. If you haven't heard about it, go to the website summersky.us. Thanks to Brian. Thanks to all the folks down here in Dallas. We'll be right back after this time out.
Thank you very much.